r/the10thDentist. Foregone conclusion 98 says. Poop made me asexual. I know, we all do it. I do it. You do it. We all do it. I even enjoy it. I do not, however, enjoy the fact that others do it. Pooping is simply necessary for survival. For some reason for me personally, when I'm dating someone, or I'm close with someone, the relationship sours in my mind the second I get any clues that they're pooping. For a long time I was able to ignore it and just think about other things, but my past few relationships have really brought to light how much I hate it. It was a normal occurrence in my pansexual days, where I'd go on a few dates. I always preferred women or trans women/trans men, and things would be going well. There'd eventually get to be a point where an overpass stay happens, and they'd disappear to the bathroom for 7 to 10 minutes, the smell of poop already fresh in the air. They'd walk out feeling proud and refreshed. Myself? I felt disgusted. I never would verbalize my feelings as I always preferred to internalize. I hate that goddamned smell. It's not a pleasant smell at all. It's a "there's poop here" flag, waved high and proud. In the past this would be a small dip in a sin wave, that would be our budding relationship. I'd get over it and forget. I'd do things that help me avoid the fact that my partner poops. Something clicked in my head in recent years and now I constantly think about it. When someone I'm dating tells me he or she wants to go get food, I'd hear, "Let's go load up with future poop," when we'd eat something healthier. All I could think about is how disgusting this compose-like substance will be as it gets processed through their body, likely ending up in my toilet the next day. I'm constantly worried about particles getting on me, and my ex even refused to wash her hands after pooping because she doesn't even touch herself. This may be part of what asexualized me. I freaking hate that. We Rouse House says. I'm not trying to be rude, and I mean this is the most real possible way. Please get therapy. This isn't normal and is affecting your life in a negative way. Foregone conclusion 98 says. I don't take it as rude. Thanks for the comment. I wish I were brave enough to do therapy for this. Blackdot44 says. Always remember that therapy is completely confidential. It may not apply to your fear of therapy, but this information can help. Ramjanine says. No offense, but I'm not sure you know what asexual means. Being ace just means not having sexual attraction. Poop is just gross, period, and anyone that doesn't practice hygiene is gross too. Your behavior does remind me of obsessive germaphobes to an extent, so seeking psychological help could do you good. Not trying to justify the people that don't wash their hands, BTW. Also, this doesn't really feel like it's much of an opinion. As Fact Talks 99 says. 100% agree with your first few points. Being so wigged out by poop that you refuse to enter into a romantic relationship is 10th dentist though. Only 1 out of 10 dentists would recommend that. r/the10thDentist. Stfunicorn_ says. John Wick is even more overrated than Blow. I mean, sure, there are a few cool scenes. But it is very repetitive. Like, what's his body count? 63 million. Oh no, here comes another bad guy. What's John gonna do? Oh. Shoot him right up. Just like the last 14 before. Teeth to Originality says. I'd say the movies are not about the plot for me. Like maybe the first one had something going, but the rest it doesn't even matter. It's all about the beautiful shots, amazing lighting, incredible camera work, and nicely choreographed fights. Frodo2412 says. It's mindless, well choreographed, spectacularly composed and filmed fun. It's very skillfully made, just not on the writing side. Scully1660 says. He kills a guy with a ein pencil. 10/10th's filmmaking, and there's nothing to convince me otherwise. Stfunicorn_ says. The Joker did it first. Scully1660 says. And it was 10/10ths in that film too. I'm accepting of all deaths by pencil. Really_bad_company says. Depends if you mean John Wick the first film or John Wick the series of films. I loved the first one. I thought it was a breath of fresh air. The series really nosedives after that. Imho forgets what made the first one good remarkable quickly. Donnie_Canceliano says. Nap, the first one was rated exactly where it should be lol. Unfortunately, to many fans of things, that means that every subsequent project, unless it's terrible, is as hype as everything else in the franchise. r/the10thDentist. Love_N0 says. I don't want my death to be quick or painless. TW4 pretty graphic descriptions of death. I've heard that usually people see dying painlessly in your sleep is the best way to go, or they at least want to die quickly. I'm not saying I want to be tortured for days and die in agony, but a painless and quick death seems like one of the worst ways to go. Imagine you had two choices. You can be killed instantly by a shot to the head, no pain. 1 second you're alive, 1 second later you're dead. Or you can be killed by having your arteries cut open. It's gonna hurt and will probably take at least a few minutes before you die. Most people would probably pick the first option, but I'd pick the second one. Here's why. I have no idea what it's like to be dead. If I pick the first option, it's going to be such a quick transition between life and death, and that's scary to me. To just quickly be thrown into whatever waits for you in the afterlife, no thank you. If I pick the second option, that transition will take longer. I will gradually get weaker and weaker until I die instead of it being instantaneous. While I'm bleeding out, I'll also have time to think about dying, feeling everything drift away. The pain will remind me that I'm dying until it fades away when I do finally die. Easing into death in that way seems much better to me. This is also why I don't want to die in my sleep. I want to be aware that I'm dying and be able to think about it in my last moments. If I were to pick my preferred way to die, it would be to bleed out and die in about 10 to 15 minutes. I won't suffer for too long, but won't die too quickly either. The pain would remind me and force me to think about and accept the fact that I'm dying, and the blood spilling out of me would be like the sand in an hourglass. The more sand that reaches the bottom, the less time is left, and the more blood on the ground below me, the less time I have left. That way I could estimate how many minutes I have left, which seems calming to me. I don't know if this makes any sense, but please comment if you feel the same. The10thDentist says. While I'm bleeding out, I'll also have time to think about dying, feeling everything drift away. The pain will remind me that I'm dying until it fades away when I do finally die. Easing into death in that way seems much better to me. Who said it'd ease you into death? I mean, you're already afraid of dying now, so who's to say that you won't use your last moments panicking about what awaits you? That you realize your life is fading away, and there's nothing you can do about it, even if you tried everything in your might. It's kind of like a band-aid. If you take it off slowly, sure, you get accustomed to what's happening much easier, but it also hurts a lot more. But if you rip it off quickly, it's going to hurt for a brief while, but then it's over. Metal_person_333 says. I would want to be fired out of a cannon or something cool like that. Jerwitz says. I would prefer being fired at by a cannon. Meanher for coffee says. I would like to be shot at by a cannon. Fless Royce says. I was prepared to read some edgy 12yo shit, but honestly this makes sense to me. I think the one reason why I would still like a quick death is because I don't think there is anything to prepare for. I might like a moment to come to peace with my death, but that could very well be impossible if I'm in serious pain. Similarly, I would like to say goodbye to my loved ones, but I don't want them to see me like that. So yeah, it'll take quick and painless, I suppose. Jenna Hopkins says, I understand wanting to know you're dying, rather than dying in your sleep. But slowly bleeding out sounds awful. r/the10thDentist. Paramedis Exotic 2510 says, Michael Jackson is nowhere as great of an artist people make him out to be. Whenever MJ was mentioned and praised as an epitome of pop music, I can't help but wondering, what's so special about him? He's massively overrated when it comes to dancing. If I was to describe him as a dancer, one trick pony is the most accurate. He has his moonwalk, leg kick, hip thrust and spinning recycled more than I can count. His music is surprisingly boring for someone with the title King of Pop. The composition is basic and the lyrics are cliche. You all love to shit on Madonna, but she can write better stuff than this. His hits are literally no better than the stuff being released today in terms of creativity and uniqueness. The only thing worth noticing about his music is the commercial success, not its impact or influence. The only thing he has that other male pop stars doesn't have is his unfathomable fame and undeserved commercial success. Storm Raider says, quick reminder, Tolkien is also extremely generic fantasy. But why is he hailed as one of the greatest fantasy authors ever? Because he is not cliché, he made the cliché. It's similar with any forerunner, they are extremely cliché because they are the ones that define the genre. The old-time greats are by default generic because they inspire what follows them. Jim Garm _ says, exactly. It's literally impossible to not be cliché when you another cliché. Coffee Anderson says, Tolkien is an excellent example. Seinfeld is also a great example where many who watch it now would find it cliché despite the humor being trend-setting. Zinni1 says, my god, what an awful opinion. Upvoted. But there's ignorance in your post. He choreographed his dances in his music videos, which tells me you don't actually know much about his dancing. It's no more unique than today's music. Well yeah lol, his music was the forerunner to what we have today. Ever wonder why his style didn't exist before he came around, but is emulated nowadays? Almost like he influenced the industry on a mass scale. You're not very specific on what Madonna writes that is superior. So I'll have to assume it's because you like it better, which is subjective. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.